Okay, so obviously Rookie was a big name. People might have guessed you might do. Who are coming out the gate with next? Who's the second player?
I think the next player, even though it was like for a short time, and he had a like resurgence 2 years ago, but I would say it's SoFM.
Ooh, so this is quite a controversial one, right? Because people will know, obviously, he is like an import player for a start off. He's not a Chinese player. And also, it's funny because until that Worlds, dude, that 2020 Worlds, if people don't know, like, people who had an eye for the game knew he was good, but everyone thought this guy was a meme. Like, it was all just like, wow, he's doing crazy, wacky jungling. What the fuck's he doing? But, like, he obviously has his own style of play, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've personally worked with him. I think he's a player who is very affected by his confidence. Very affected by his confidence, but I think at his peak, and especially when he just joined, when he didn't understand Chinese and didn't know what his teammates were saying, I think his first few games, he just completely destroyed everyone. I think his first match was against Swift and Dade, the mid jungle, Swift and Dade.
They were really good at the time, yeah, showing.
Yeah, they were decent, and he was, I think, the first one to time every single camp on the map. And even before the camp spawn, he would already be there waiting. Okay. And he would farm like 100 CS up, 150 CS up. So basically he was Kanavi before Kanavi was here. And I think for myself, I've worked with him and I've seen him as well be very proficient in every other role in the game. I think as far as I know, he played every other role except AD carry professionally. And even like, you know, the solo laners, which I had on LNG, they practice 1v1s with SoFM and he is usually the one who comes out on top. So I think...
Did that give him like a different understanding of the game, you think?
Yeah, for sure. Because in his mind, I would say he already knows what's the matchup and how the matchup is supposed to play and whether he can win the 2v2. So there's actually a lot of like pre-match communication which you don't actually need to do. And I think something special about him is he does not use F keys a lot.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because what he does is he looks at the minimap. And if the icon, you know, the icon of the champion just jumps, he knows like what movement ability or what movement spell you used and what's the cooldown.
That's pretty impressive, yeah.
I think that is very, very special of him.
The other thing as well, like you sort of alluded to it there, because this guy had his own vision on how you path in the game, the joke is he's one of those players where it's like he plays a lot Fog of War. You'd think if you were the other jungler, like, what the fuck, how's he know I'm here? Like, he's already there for, like, he'll contest the buff, just be there to annoy you, fuck up your pathing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like many, I'll say right now it's basic strategies in LPL or jungling in LPL where he has a small lead over you and he will hit level 6 one camp before you. So he will just flip and invade. And if he wins the smite fight, he hits level 6, he wins the game there because you are level 5 as a jungler and he will be level 6. And even if he doesn't win the smite fight, it's fine. There's like nothing is going on. So and all these like small things are things which are still not seen very often in Europe and NA, but it's something which I would say like the hard carry junglers in LPL do very often. You know, like Kanavi as of himself, sometimes Leyen from, I'm not sure which team he's on now, but yeah, like many junglers model or try to copy his playstyle. You know, like heavy farming, full timing of camps, but I think there are still some things which some junglers don't get, because as far as I know, Alioya tries the same and Inspired as well, but I don't think they can even team fight as well as him because his understanding of every role, every champion is too deep compared to the other junglers which I've known so far, or at least in the West, and maybe Kanavi.
Yeah, and that's also another part that people might get lost on. Like, one, I know the historical, it's actually the junglers that ruined the whole rep of the fucking LPL because everyone just thought, oh, they just can't call the time, they just dive in the towers, like, which is obviously like such an over-exaggeration, but it is true as a general tendency, right? There are a lot of gank junglers, like famously, people just pick Lee Sin forever, no matter whether it's in meta or not, like, just I'm going in, boys, on the queue. But if you notice, if a lot of people do that, logically in the meta game, a counter will be being a really amazing pathing farming jungler, hence Kanavi was the MVP of the whole league, if you don't know, guys. SoFM had success. So by the way, on teams where sometimes his mid laner would be a complete bomb, someone you'll never hear from again who played for like 2 years or something. Whereas like the thing I think about players like that as well is like the reason why they're all so fucking godlike is because not only can they get their farm off, but they understand what's going on with their lane, so their lanes aren't just getting perma-ganked all day long while they're farming. And then crucially, and this is the old Claylove strategy, which is why he was the most unique jungler in the LPL, if you can actually power farm and then get to the team fight and you are good at team fighting, it's like your team has like another half carry. You're just going to do so much damage. You're going to be able to fuck up the other guy. You can beat him an item ahead, maybe. In the old jungle method, obviously.
I would say he is like one of the best team fighters I've seen in my life. Because I think he has something which most players lack right now, which is patience. I think everyone just wants to pull the trigger or they want to engage, but he's one of the few junglers who would stand still and press S until like the AD carry starts to attempt to do damage, and then he will engage. And these are like small things which I think people know, or I've told to some players, but it's not easy to have like the trigger discipline on stage.
Yes. Like, if people don't know, this is a guy where you think of SoFM, like, look, obviously everyone plays Lee Sin in the LPL. This is the guy, though, who would be on the fucking Jarvan and get the perfect fucking Cataclysm onto the right carry. He's going to be on the Gragas and displace the right carry with the fucking barrel. Like, yeah, as you say, like, sometimes junglers themselves, I think, just think they're just like fodder. And they're just like, I just go in and then the team follows up. It's like, no, if you're Gragas with the ult there, you're almost playing it like Orianna. You're trying to, like, get the perfect fucking ult off. That's going to win the whole fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I think team fighting as a jungler is an art which is missing from many teams.
Yes.
And actually is missing from every region unless you're one of the top few junglers. And I feel like I think everyone can learn from him, especially from his team fighting, because he definitely is the first one to be so good at team fighting and so good at tracking camps and tracking the enemy jungler. And I think over the years, especially like in his time in Suning, he has evolved as well, because when he realized that jungle is maybe not as strong as before, he also knows to help his teammates, and or in Chinese they would say he knows how to be a good dog, good dog jungler as well.
There you go.
But I think recently, or right now, if you see him like over farming camps, it's usually because there's something wrong with the team. So that is something which he would default to.
Yeah, well, as I said, we're also picking a player here who I know fans, because of the one Suning run ever, are going to be like, he was on a good team. It's like, no, the joke is that was the only tournament they were ever fucking good at, guys. Like, they were never in a final. He was never in an LPL final. Like, he's actually also had a pretty hard career in terms of the teams he's gone to, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was on LNG or on Snake for, I would say, 4 years, and then there was a low budget team until he left. It was a low budget team, and they really did not have any pieces except for Flandre, and I think that was the only good piece they had, and the other pieces around him were not, I would say, not very good. Even in his most successful run, where I think we reached the top 6 in 2019 summer, he had 3 players who next split or 1 year later they have retired, and I think the only player playing right now at the highest level is Flandre. So I would say he did not have the best of luck with teammates, but for sure, right now he has slightly better team, but I would say they are quite eccentric as well.
Oh, of course, yeah. Right across the board, almost every player, if you don't know, they're all weird players. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.